Nithyanandam and Namaste. This is Ma Nitya Oviyananda coming to you again live from Bengaluru Aadheenam here in India. So I'm continuing my conversation that I had with you from my intro series video, and that is talking about how I met Enlightened Master, Living Avatar, His Holiness, Bhagavan Paramahamsa Nithyananda. So I was relating to you how I decided to take one program with him at the Nithyananda Vedic Temple in Ohio, which is approximately 6 hours from Chicago. A couple of friends of mine decided they were going to go, and just to recap, they kept asking me for over a year if I would like to do a program with them, with this great master. And I continued to decline their invites to me. So this time I said yes, and we did go. We got on the road and took the long journey there, and we ended up doing the 2-day program. Now the interesting thing was, at that time, the programs were delivered India daytime, so it was an overnight program. So we had to go beyond our ideas of when we should sleep, and all kinds of major things happened. But I felt so calm and so beautiful there in that space at the temple. I've never been to a Hindu temple before, and I just walked in the door, and this huge, beautiful Nithyananda deities were there, and it was Shiva and Parvati sitting there in stone. And I was blown away by the beauty of the place. And in the surrounding area, it's wooded with a beautiful river flowing through that area, and the people were very friendly and welcoming, and right away I just felt at home. So then anyway, we started the program, and after 2 days, I just started to feel some kind of transformation happening. After the first night, I laid in the bed, and I thought I almost felt a little shivery, as if I had a fever. And I kind of had that movement, except that I didn't have a fever, but I felt sort of the body going through that shake movement of having the chills, even though I wasn't cold. And again, it happened. And I had experienced there seeing people have a Kundalini awakening. Now, what was a Kundalini awakening? I had no idea. I only knew that I saw people jumping up and down off of their seat, and many other things while we were there in meditation. So what is Kundalini? Kundalini is the life force that's within inside each of us. And it's awakened by a living incarnation, a guru that has experienced that awakening himself, and he can transmit that to other people. But of course, like I said, I had no idea what any of this was. I only heard about it. I heard it was some spiritual thing, and that's all I knew. So I went through the process, and I still found, okay, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is strange. I don't know what this is, but I'm just going to go with it. I somehow had a faith inside me to just continue on in this journey. And each of the processes that we did during this program, it really opened up something in me, and I felt something shift, something new happening, some beginning coming. Many things that I experienced in my life, the stress, the suffering, the guilt, various different things, I felt them kind of being opened up and cleansed away. Then during the second day, Swamiji announced that he would do what's called the death meditation. So he takes us through a series of steps that leads a person through basically the death process, a psychological death. So sort of dropping the identity, dropping the attachments you have, and sort of get down to the bareness of who you are. So at first, I have to admit, when I heard this, I was very nervous. I'm like, what is this? I don't want to die, and all my fear came up. But I said, okay, I'm going to do this thing. So we each had to lay down on the mats and go through the process with this beautiful music and Swamiji's magical, powerful voice entering into our system. And I'm like, just going through this motion. And I felt myself just relaxing. And my whole system was relaxing. I wasn't sleeping because I can hear the sound still going. But suddenly I saw Swamiji in my inner space as if he was rising out of a still pond, like a still lake, actually. And I saw the walls of something that looked kind of like a cave. And I saw him come out, and he was smiling. It was such a beautiful thing. I'm like, wow, because I've never had any kind of vision before. And it had a different quality than a dream. It had just like a spontaneous unfolding and it was clear that it was not, from my mind. It was something else. So that was an amazing thing to feel that and experience that connection with him. Then, we each got to have our darshan with him, which consisted of going up in front of the camera, seeing him, and then speaking to him and asking him our question. So what I asked him was, I said, Swamiji, I would really like to find my path in life. So it's a funny question because now I've really found my path. And he just said blessings, and that he would help me. I had no idea then where it would lead me. So I'm really excited to be sharing this here with you guys about how my path started. And the other thing that I wanted to mention, a very important thing, I didn't talk to anybody there. Only my 2 friends knew, but of course they're not going to tell people. But I didn't tell anybody there that I did have a drinking problem. I was telling you earlier how I was into this partying, into sort of, numbing the trauma that I've been through and trying to kind of get through life, and get that feel-good feeling, through an artificial source. So I didn't tell anybody that there. And I was having trouble even going a few days without having a couple of drinks or beers, basically. I couldn't even do that. So I didn't know when I would be able to, kick this habit. And I didn't want to admit that I had a problem either, of course, because I was too strong and I was too tough to have some kind of problem like that get in my way. But when I left this program and I realized sitting there that Sunday night after we got back, I sat and I'm like, I'm going to meditate. And I can actually feel this energy moving through my system that I never felt before. I felt my body kind of swaying, like in the spine area. And I thought, wow, at first I was a little freaked out. I'm like, what is going on here? So then, obviously my friends knew about Kundalini. They told me some background on the drive home. I did a little research myself. And I read in one place that said, if you drink alcohol and if you've had a Kundalini awakening, it could be harmful. And that's all it said. It wasn't really very detailed, but there was something in me that clicked. I said, you know what? I think a gift was given to me. I think something was awakened inside me that is totally unique and different, and I'm not going to mess that up. And I just had this clarity, and I'll tell you what, I never touched a drink again from that moment. And you're talking to somebody who, was the life of the party, and, I had so much fun with everybody. Little did they know how much I was wondering while I was there must be something more. Well, I finally found it. I found the path, and I started from that moment. And it's been just a magical journey since then, and I'm so grateful to Swamiji. And so I'm really looking forward to further talks with you, sharing my experiences of this amazing being who has landed on planet Earth. Mahadeva has come. So I'm going to be discussing more of this. And thank you so much for tuning in. Namaste. Nithyanandam.